My name is Stephen Demchuk, and I'm the founder and president of Baltimore Washington Beer Works. We make Raven beer. And I'm going to tell you why you should name a beer after Edgar Allan Poe. So, just a little, not background, but I started this in Germany. I did a postdoc in Europe, and I got on a plane, Swissair, to go to Geneva, Switzerland. And I was handed a Cardinal beer, which in Europe is a very standard beer. And coming out of the United States, in the 1980s, that was far better than a Budweiser and whatever. And I was really shocked. And I think that one beer sitting on Swissair heading to Switzerland changed a lot of things for me. Oops. You got to start over. And that got me thinking about beer. And I traveled around Europe sampling beers, visiting breweries, started writing about beer, and at one point in time, that's my first slide. Is it already started? It's starting now. Oh, that's Edgar Allan Poe. He was born in January 19th, 1809, and died 40 years later, 1849. And in the meantime, he wrote a lot of stories, essays, poems, whatever, about horror and mystery. Nice thing about marketing a product about Edgar Allan Poe is there are 5 cities that claim Poe their own. You got Boston, Richmond, New York, Philadelphia, and of course Baltimore, where he's dead and buried on Fayette Street. Hollywood has taken advantage of Poe, as you can see here. More recent movies and TV shows about Poe. Vincent Price, a classic. As a kid, I saw all the Poe stories. And of course, most recently, Kevin Bacon, whatever. We started brewing Raven beer in Germany. And that's my partner to the left, Wolfgang Stark out of Hamburg. And that's Ambassador John Kornblum having a Raven beer in 1999 at the U.S. Embassy in Bonn on 4th of July. The idea there was to create an American product in Europe, and of course Poe, or Raven was what I did. First beer was Raven Special Lager. These are named after Poe's stories. The next one, the Pendulum Pilsner, after the Pit and the Pendulum. Telltale Heart IPA after the Telltale Heart, the beating of the heart. And you got the Pendulum, what was the other one? I forgot. But anyway, there's Cal. I asked Cal Colliger, the political cartoonist for the Baltimore Sun, the Economist magazine, to do some sketches for me. And I think we make great beer, but with Cal doing the packaging, we took it a step above that. Cal's first drawing was this one. And you can see an accentuated forehead of Poe. You can see Poe is not a depressive, macabre individual, but he's kind of cartoonish and kind of happy, and that was the idea we wanted. Even the Raven itself has a little character to it. And what we did, every time Cal did a series of labels, we'd paste them on the bottles. We'd take photographs, we look at them and try to evaluate what we really wanted out of a beer label. And this went on for several times until we got the correct logos. The final was the low resolution of Annabelle Lee, our latest beer. And you can see Annabelle Lee to the left, the serifs on the right, and on the left, Edgar is holding a Belgium-style wit glass beer that fits the style of the beer. You can see in the next slide, that's the one for the Pendulum Pilsner, after the Pit and the Pendulum. And we shrunk his forehead down a little bit more. We took him off steroids, I guess. He's much less like Bobby Bonds. And he's got a little smirk on his face, and you can interpret it what you want. So we took that same image, we stuck it on the side of a case carrier. Very simple. You got the logo, you got the name of the brand. That's the case. And we got a bright color. We're trying to keep it simple and very clean. On the end panels, we have more information and all that. The top of the case carrier, as you can see, we have the Edgar Allan Poe series is 6 different beers. And we highlight the one glass that's in that represents the beer in the box. So the lager will have the one on the right, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, the labels themselves have 4 different parts to it. To the right and left of Poe are characters of the story. You got the bust of Pallas, the raven sits upon the bust of Pallas above my chamber door. You got Edgar himself and the bird. He's holding the glass that fits the beer style. You got a, oh, I'm going faster. We also included a tagline and lines of the story itself. Each beer itself has its own bottle cap. Most beers know that the big brewery, small brewery, they have one cap that fits all their beers, name of the brewery, whatever. We are different. The 6-packs show beer, show the logo, holding the glass, and then lines from the story on the right. But on the end panels, on the one on the right, you see a half a Poe, and that's a cartoon thing where the guy looks at it and goes, where's the other half? Well, maybe if I pull the 6-pack down and turn it over, I see it. And perhaps now he has it in his hand, he may buy it. Mark Supik from a wood carver in Baltimore in Highlandtown does our tap handles. Nice thing about tap handles, not only does it gravitate the people to the beer itself, but it's also a good sell to the bar. One day I was on the internet and I was searching the Beatles, and I came up with a Let It Be album, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. And I went to Cal, I said, wow, we got now four Poe beers. And I suggested that, and he came up with the Fab Four thing. I gave that to my daughter, who's a very gifted artist, just graduated from GW University. And she said, no, Dad, that's Andy Warhol, Marilyn Monroe. I said, really? She said, yeah. And I said, okay, show me what you can do. And she did this. She colorized the Fab Four into Andy Warhol's Marilyn Monroe. And we call that Poe Monroe. So that we made T-shirts with that, the Fab Four, and other things. So you get a lot of merchandising you can do with Poe. So why Poe? Poe is known worldwide. There are stories and music and albums and TV series, movies, whatever, plays, pubs, impersonators, sports teams named after Poe, dedicated to him and his literature. Poe's stories are a graphic designer's dream. Locally, he's buried in Baltimore. He's a hero from here, from Baltimore. And the Tamarind and other poems was sold at Christie's a couple years ago for $660,000, the highest paid book of any American piece of literature, and it's only about that thin. And the last thing about Poe, people really dig Poe, so why not name a beer after Poe? It's not about a football team, trust me. Thank you.